Hello, welcome to Flower Juice. My name's John McDonald, and today we're going to have a look at cold glue. Now, I'm old enough that really I started out with wiring of things. So to make a corsage, I would have wired the leaves and the flowers, everything. But something that's very popular now, especially with people coming into the industry, is the use of floral adhesive. So this is like a cold glue. So you can use hot glue, but hot glue, you've got to find the gun, find the glue sticks, set it up, let it heat up, and there's a real chance that you're going to burn yourself as well. So actually the cold glue is a really good choice for making corsages. So this is one that comes from Oasis, and Oasis really supply floral sundries across the world. So if you can't find this one, there's going to be similar ones in your area, I think. So like a cold florist glue is what we're going to use. And I'm also going to use a wrist corsage. Now these are kind of like snappy ones that you can get. So they come rolled and you just straighten them out and you've got this movable piece that's here. So this is what we're going to use to make our wrist corsage with glue. So let's have a look at the way to do it. Now the first thing we notice with this brand of bracelet for doing corsages for a wrist is that this piece moves. Now this piece is actually useful. A lot of the time if I was doing a wired one I would take this off and just wire a corsage together, then wire it straight on. But we can keep this and use this as the base for our actual corsage. So I don't like the fact that it's moving around. So what I've done is I've taken some glue and put it underneath, held it together, and also taken like a rose wire, just gone round it so it catches this frame, and with a pair of pliers basically, or wire cutters, just giving it a good tighten. This is going to be underneath the flower anyway, so it doesn't really matter that we've done that. Now one thing to note is this is nice and clean. Okay, this is an old one, but when you're making it, you need to keep in mind that if you've got a ribbon like this, there's a danger that you're going to make it dirty. So you need to make sure that your hands are quite clean and that everything's good. So we're going to place our piece down here. Our glue, you're best to have a little bit of paper or something just for resting it on, because as you see, as soon as you open it, it starts to come out. And with cold glue, it takes a minute or two to basically be happy in itself, if that makes sense. So what you can do is you can put some glue onto the end of your stem, which is great. Now you might want to just let it sit for a second. The cold glue doesn't instantly dry. It takes a little bit of time just to dry. So that is going to be a little bit of a problem in the sense that, you know, you can't just make it and it's ready to go. You need to make it and let it sit and really dry off. So you don't want to move it around really once you get going. So we can start to build our corsage, and I'm actually going to use this little piece as well just to give us a place to go under. So this is actually going to work to our advantage, having that. Now the other thing to remember is when we do this, it's going to be on a bend. So we don't want everything to just sit up. We want to make sure that things are coming nicely round, so that it has a nice end and a nice finish. You're not looking in from the sides and it's all, you know, you're kind of seeing a kind of funny end really. So really what we're going to do is we're going to create a framework round about our corsage with the foliage. So we're going to create basically a base that we can then add our flowers onto. Now this is just a little bit of lavender. So what you're really looking for with a corsage is interest and textures. You want to just make it interesting and pretty. I've even got these little cyclamen leaves, and this is perfect. So in a way the glue is also sealing the flower or sealing the end of the stem. You can actually just put a wee lump there. Now you are going to get little threads of glue. It's not the end of the world, it's going to happen, so just be aware that you can let it dry, let it set, and then take these off as a final thing. So really the beauty of gluing is that it's giving you an opportunity to maybe make things that you would have struggled to make with wire. You can get things to sit quite flat, or you can actually put more material in than you would have done with wire. And it's quicker. So if you're working in a shop and you've got 5 corsages to do, you could probably sit and do them all slightly simultaneously, and you're just letting things dry as you go. So I'm just building this up with our nice little pieces of foliage. And obviously you can use any kind of materials. Ultimately, the look of your corsage is going to really depend on what materials you use. These are little sage leaves that I got from the garden. I think they're so cute. And actually they're going to give a nice smell as well. This is the problem with the glue. It kind of creates a little bit of a skin on it. So I find that a little bit problem. And as with all things, to be honest, the more you do it, the better you'll become. So we've got our little base, we've added our sage leaves, our fern, and our cyclamen leaves. So our bigger leaves are really giving a little bit of body into the centre of our design. And I've got these little cyclamen flowers, and we're going to use these. Just to, again, go around the edge. I quite like these little petals. And this is really just giving us some colour. This is ideal for like little spray roses. You know, you don't need anything particularly big. Now I've got these lovely little roses, and these actually have come from like a little plant, and I think they're just beautiful. But just check that they've got nice petals. If the petals need removed, or in fact if it's sitting too big, you might want to remove a few petals. Again, we want a good amount of glue on there, and if you go like that, that helps take off the trails, and we can just put that in. So again, we're still going to build this like you would a normal corsage where things are radiating out. And I think these are just beautiful little roses. So if you wanted, you could have them quite big, or you can make them smaller by removing a few petals. Now the other beauty of this is that we could actually drop in a bit of glue here so that it's literally sitting over these stems. We can also glue a flower to a flower. So not only is it going on the base, it can be glued onto its neighbour as well. Now let's see if we've got another little bud. Yeah, this is pretty. And there's no reason why you can't do a combination. So if you really would prefer to wire your corsage, then you could wire the main materials and then just use your glue for adding in extra detail and lighter pieces. So it's a technique or an opportunity to do both, actually. You don't have to just do one. There we go. It's quite pretty. Now, I think we need a little bit of the lavender into the centre. So you can see this is really a lot quicker because all we're doing is using our flowers and our glue, whereas with wires and tape, there's a lot more preparation work. And it does become a little bit more complicated. Now you can put ribbon in as well, that's not a problem. You could even take individual petals and glue them in. That wouldn't be an issue, so we can do that. And as with any corsage work, you're really wanting to do this either on the day or as late as possible the day before. You don't want to have it made too far in advance because it's not going to be fresh, it's not going to be happy. I really like these little leaves, and sometimes people are a wee bit worried about using rose leaves because they don't think they're going to last. If they're good and strong, you can just feel it, then you're not going to have an issue. But obviously if it's in the middle of the summer and it's really warm, then that could be more of an issue. Now, that is basically it, but we can't really start throwing this around. We need to let this have time to just sit and chill. Not chill as such, but just to sit and allow the glue to really take hold, and then it will be really secure. And then for putting it on the wrist, essentially all you do is go like that, and then it will sit. So we're going to let this sit and just have a wee rest for 5-10 minutes, and it's that simple. If you have little details like diamantes or pearls or ribbon, they're very easy just to add in. But a quick way of making a corsage, just using cold glue. And when you're finished with your glue, you really want to just clean off the neck, put your lid on, and it'll be fine. If there's any air gets into the tube will actually just go off. So you want it to be nicely sealed, but don't over tighten it, and just take care. And you can also use, like toothpaste, you can start to roll this up so that you're getting all that glue out of there. So there we go, we've got our finished corsage. It's really quite secure now, it's not an issue. The longer you leave it, the more secure it is. I've not really left it long enough, to be honest. But it just shows you how simple it is using the glue. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, click here to subscribe. We've got lots of videos coming up over the year to come, and we look forward to seeing you for our next design. Take care.